students, I welcome everyone back to online classes and I hope everyone are doing fine following all the precautionary measures during this pandemic. Dear students, let us today start discussing about the questions level 1 in fact of the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. Here dear students, when we move on to the first question, it is as follows. With decrease in temperature, oxyhemoglobin curve will become, four options have been given: straight, more steep, parabola and all of the above. Dear students, let me tell you that temperature plays a significant role in defining the affinity of hemoglobin towards oxygen. So here the question, to understand this, let me tell you the simple graph here. See, if you take partial pressure of oxygen in the x-axis and in the y-axis, if you take oxyhemoglobin, alright. So here we can take into consideration the saturation percentage of oxyhemoglobin. Alright. Now, dear students, as the temperature decreases in the body, the graph becomes more steeper and steeper and steeper. This is very important. So, with the decrease in temperature, the oxyhemoglobin curve will definitely become more steep. So, among the given options, the right answer is option 2, that is more steep. See, let me tell you my dear students, this more steep rise of the curve indicates high affinity of hemoglobin. High affinity of hemoglobin. This is very necessary for us to understand. Alright. So this is about the first question. Now let us move on to the second question. Normal breathing is called. Four options have been given, dear students. The first option is apnea, dyspnea, and the third is eupnea, and the fourth is hypopnea. See, the first is which one? Apnea. Alright. And here, dear students, let me tell you, apnea is a condition, respiratory condition where there is cessation of breathing. What do you mean by cessation of breathing here, my dear students? Let me tell you that cessation here in simple terms refers to stoppage, The breathing will be stopped for a particular time, let us say for example, during sleep especially, the breathing will be stopped due to the, blockage of airways for about 10 seconds, around 10 seconds. This is what we call it to as apnea. Alright, it's a respiratory condition, my dear students. So the question asked here is we have to choose the option among the four which is the right one. But as this is cessation of breathing and it is not normal breathing, we cannot go for option 1 which is apnea. So let us move on to the second option. Dyspnea. What is the second option we have here? Dyspnea. See, dyspnea in shorter terms, if I want to tell you, it refers to shortness of breath. Alright, and definitely by the word itself we can understand, the person will be definitely gasping for breath, in many a times. So this condition where there is shortness of breath is referred to as what? Dyspnea, my dear students. Alright. So let us say it is a feeling of not being able to breathe freely. Alright. So or having shortness of breath. Let us move on to the third option. Eupnea. We have the third option as what? Eupnea. and definitely this is the right answer, as this is the normal breathing. During normal body conditions, physiological and the metabolic conditions, as the normal breathing occurs, there will be no fluctuations in breathing, or there will be no any other medical conditions, as I am breathing now very normally, or as you are breathing now in normally without any medical condition, respiratory condition. The normal breathing, in simple terms, we refer it to as Hypopnea, my dear students. Alright, and it is definitely unlabored breathing. Without any hesitation, you can go for option 3, which is your right answer. But let us also understand what do we mean by the fourth option. What is the answer of fourth option? We have hypopnea. This is the last option which we need to understand here. Hypopnea, dear students, here breathing more deeply. This is what it means. Breathing more deeply. Alright. So this is hypopnea. Dear students, hypopnea, if I want to put across in more general terms, let me tell you here, the breathing will be more faster than the normal. Okay. So anyway, so these are the 4 options which had been mentioned, and the question asked was normal breathing is called. Alright, dear students, we know that it is hypopnea, and apnea is cessation, stoppage of breathing for a particular period of around 10 seconds, especially during sleep. This especially happens during sleep. And dyspnea, shortness of breath, and hypopnea, breathing more deeply, more faster than the normal. So this is about the second question, and the answer here is option 3. Moving on to the next question, my friends, we have a child was killed through asphyxiation. A child was killed through asphyxiation. So asphyxiation, in simple terms, if I want to refer, it means to say suffocation. The child was killed due to suffocation or asphyxiation. Post-mortem confirmed it because a piece of lung put in water. See, during post-mortem, they dissected the body and took a piece of lung and put it in water. So what results were seen? We have to observe here. See, option 1 is settled down, option 2 kept floating, option 3 had blood spots, option 4 none of the above. Okay, dear students, let me explain you this question. Okay, now in simple terms, you know what you mean by asphyxiation, suffocation. Okay, fine. Now, dear students, when a piece of lung is put into water, alright, so this test, we have a test after performing the post-mortem, we take a piece of lung and put it in water. This is also called as lung flotation test. It's an invasive test, okay, which is also referred to as what? Lung flotation test. So here, when we perform this, what actually observations can be made? Let us understand, my dear friends. See, first observation you can understand here is that, fetus does not respire through the lungs when it is inside the womb, isn't it? That's the first point. Second point, my dear students, you need to understand is that the fetus, when it is inside the womb, will respire through or with the help of the placenta. Alright, that we know, dear friends. And make a note that when the baby is outside the womb, right, when it is delivered, the baby, when it comes outside through the womb, the birth canal, after that, definitely it will respire through lungs. I hope you understood till here. See, when the baby is inside the womb, or the fetus, developing fetus, will not respire through lungs. It takes oxygen through the placenta, and also expels carbon dioxide also through placenta. Anyway, that's the first point. When the baby comes outside the womb, it will respire normally as we are respiring, that is through lungs. That's the point you need to understand. Dear students, let me also tell you that we need to here check whether the lungs are aerated or not. What we need to here refer, see, we need to refer one condition here, that whether the lungs are aerated or not. These two conditions if we want to know. Why we want to know, I will tell you. See, because if the lungs are aerated, alright, and definitely let me tell you, dear students, and then when the piece of lung is put in water, the lungs will float. When it is aerated, it will float. First point, alright, to be noted. When it is not aerated, it sinks in the water, alright. That's the second point. And what observations can be brought here, alright. Well, if let us say, for example, if the piece of lung which we have taken through the the body of the baby after post-mortem, if it sinks inside the water, alright, that indicates that, or that confirms that the baby is stillborn, alright. That means the baby has died inside the womb itself. I follow my point, children. Stillborn. If it sinks, it refers that the baby is what? Stillborn. And dear students, and make a note here as well that the baby has not respired through lungs. That's the first point. So, second point, according to the question, if we move, after the birth of the child, that is after the birth of the child, if it was asphyxiated according to the question, that is, see, a child was killed through asphyxiation is the question here. So if it is so, then the piece of lung will float. If it floats, my dear students, let me tell you that it is confirmed that the baby was killed through what? Asphyxiation. That's why this lung flotation test is important for understanding these types of aspects. Alright. So the right answer you have to go for here is option 2, that is the piece of lung kept floating. Dear students, next let us move on to the fourth question. Lungs have a large number of alveoli. Yes, indeed. See, let me tell you that alveoli are in fact the structural and functional units of respiratory system. Alright. And in each lung we can find about 300 million alveoli. Alright. There they have alveolar sacs where oxygen is stored and supplied whenever required. Here, dear students, alright, to understand this question, let me tell you that what we need to understand, have a large number of alveoli. Lungs have a large number of alveoli. Why they have? Because as I said, 300 million alveoli can be present in each lung, and let me tell you that large surface area which is present here, alright, due to these alveoli is highly necessary for what? To process in fact huge amounts of air. Alright, dear students, they are spread across 100 square meters. Total 100 square meters we can find their surface area in the lungs. Alright, that's also very important. And dear students, because of which our lungs takes in around 1.3 to 2.1 gallons of oxygen, or air, or we can say, or rather 5 to 8 liters of air per minute. Alright, so definitely the more presence of alveoli will increase the surface area in the lungs, alright, which is necessary for diffusion of gases to the blood and from there to the body. Alright, so the fourth question, the right answer is option 2, that is more surface area for the diffusion of gases. So please go for option 2. Alright, so this is about the question number 4. We have the next question, that is question number 5, where this diagram has been given. Okay, so indicating especially the systemic circulation, how the blood is carried by the systemic arteries, alright, to the body tissues, and back from the body tissues the deoxygenated blood is carried by the systemic veins, alright. See, this is what we call the systemic circulation, the supply of blood from the heart to the body parts, that is oxygenated blood, and carrying of the oxygenated blood from the body parts to the heart, alright. This is called systemic circulation, where systemic arteries will carry the oxygenated blood and the systemic veins will carry the deoxygenated blood, which we know. After which, see, the deoxygenated blood through the, it will be passed on to the alveolar air, and later it will be expelled outside. And after the air is inspired in the alveoli, here what is mentioned is the partial pressure of oxygen and the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Alright children, so which will be approximately around 104 millimeter mercury, that is PO2, and PCO2 will be 40 millimeter mercury. Now let us understand the question. Here the question given is the PO2, that is the partial pressure of oxygen. What is, it is very important, my dear students, to understand what do you mean by partial pressure. Alright, see, partial pressure is the measure of, either the oxygen or carbon dioxide within arterial or the venous blood. Alright children, so which is represented by PO2 and PCO2. For oxygen, PO2. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be PCO2. Alright dear students. Now, so the partial pressure of oxygen in systemic arteries. They are asking systemic arteries is. Dear students, let me tell you that in the systemic arteries, that means here, alright, the systemic arteries will carry the oxygenated blood from the heart. See, this is the heart. From the heart, alright, the systemic arteries will carry the oxygenated blood to the body tissues. Alright, so there we can find the partial pressure of oxygen approximately being around 95 millimeter mercury. And secondly, let me also tell you, apart from that, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, PCO2, in the same systemic arteries would be around 40 millimeter mercury. This is PO2 and this is PCO2. So among the given options, you please go for option 4, that is 95 millimeter mercury. That is your right answer. Students, next 6th question we have here is, which of the following sets of conditions are favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin in the alveoli? We need to understand the conditions which are favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Alright, that is HbO2 4. Alright, so here 4 options have been given. Firstly, let me tell you, my dear students, that in the alveoli, if there is high partial pressure of oxygen, right, this is the first point. What? The first point, high partial pressure of oxygen, and second point, low partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and along with that, lesser hydrogen ion concentration, lesser H plus concentration, and then fourthly, to go with that, even let us consider one more, lower temperature. Alright students, so these 4 conditions, if it exists in the alveoli, definitely, my dear students, alright, here it is very favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, HbO2 4. What are the 4 conditions? Increased partial pressure of oxygen, decreased partial pressure of carbon dioxide, decreased hydrogen concentration, decreased or lower temperature rather. Okay, so these 4 conditions you need to remember. Now these 4 conditions will help us definitely for what? For the formation of hemoglobin, favorable for the formation of HbO2 4. And opposite to this, if it is low partial pressure of oxygen and high partial pressure of carbon dioxide and high hydrogen concentration and higher temperature, then dissociation of oxygen will from the hemoglobin, that is, see again Hb plus 4O2. Alright, so this is what? Dissociation. What is happening here? Dissociation, which can be explained. Dissociation of oxygen from the hemoglobin can be explained through Bohr's effect. Remember this. It will be useful for further solving of questions. Anyway, so quite opposite to this, it will help in dissociation of oxygen from the hemoglobin for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. That is the hemoglobin combining with oxygen. Is oxyhemoglobin, right? For that to be formed in the alveoli, these four conditions are necessary. So among the given options, so please go for option 4. Alright children, that is low partial pressure of carbon dioxide, high partial pressure of oxygen and low hydrogen concentration. Alright, then dear students, let us move on solving the 7th question. Here, compound soluble in water which does not impede oxygen transportation. Alright, which does not help in oxygen transportation, we need to understand here, dear students. 4 options have been given. Let me tell you that the first option what we have here, SO2. SO2 is in fact it's a soluble compound that can dissolve in water but not in blood. SO2 can dissolve in water. It can dissolve in water but not in blood. It cannot dissolve in blood. Alright students, this is first point. And because as it cannot dissolve in the blood, it definitely cannot impede or cannot transport oxygen. Alright, this is a very important point. So answer here, direct answer, that is SO2, sulfur dioxide. Then CO and NO have been given, carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide. Okay, so both carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide both can compete for oxygen. Alright, they can compete for oxygen and bind, alright, to it. Alright children, this is very important, and they can bind along with the hemoglobin. So those two cannot be the option, and final option we have here is that SO3. SO3 is rather insoluble. Alright, it is insoluble compound because in the blood, but it can be soluble in water. Alright children, so it is very important to understand. Alright, so the right answer here we have to go for sulfur dioxide, which is soluble in water but not soluble in the blood. Because it is not soluble in the blood, it cannot impede the transportation of oxygen. So the right answer is SO2. Let us move on to the 9th question. So the 9th question as follows: inner or alveolar surface area of human lungs is. Alright, so I have already told you this, that the alveoli are present in huge numbers. In each lung we can find around 300 million alveoli, and also told you that alveoli are considered as the structural and functional units of our respiratory system. They have alveolar sacs where they store the oxygen. So they are spread across very high surface area of the lungs. So the right answer here we can go for option 3, that is around 100 square meters. So the answer is option 3. The 10th question we have here is: the greatest quality of air that can be expired after a maximum inspiratory effort is its. So 4 options have been given: residual volume, tidal volume, vital capacity and lung volume. Let us understand each one of it. Alright, see, residual volume here indicates the amount of air remains inside the lung even after expiration. That will be around, residual volume will be around 1200 ml. Alright, then second we have here tidal volume. See, tidal volume, the volume of air inhaled during each respiratory cycle. Respiratory cycle here refers to one inspiration and one expiration. And here tidal volume will be approximately around 500 ml, my dear students. And third option which is given here is vital capacity. See, vital capacity is the sum total of tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume. TV plus IRV, inspiratory reserve volume plus expiratory reserve volume, is equal to vital capacity of lungs. See, here already we know what is tidal volume. Tidal volume is the maximum amount of air, the air inhaled during one respiratory cycle, that is one expiration and one inspiration, that is I have already told you 500 ml. Inspiratory reserve volume, so that is the volume of air inhaled in excess of tidal volume during deep inspiration. So this will be around 3000 ml. So this is 500 ml plus 3000 ml plus expiratory reserve volume, the volume of air in excess of tidal volume, alright, which is expelled during what we can say forceful expiration. So it will be around 1100 ml. So totally the vital capacity will be 4600 ml. So the asked question is what? Okay, one more option we have, lung volume. So lung volume means the maximum amount of air that lungs can accommodate. So maximum up to 6000 ml. Alright, so that's the lung capacity. Anyway, my dear students, among the given option, the right answer is vital capacity, that is the greatest quality of air that can be expired after a maximum inspiratory effort. Alright, so go for option 3, that is vital capacity. So this is the 10th question and the answer is option 3. Thank you very much.